The North Carolina Arboretum is a wonderful cultural institution. We now attract over 500,000 visitors per year. What is equally important is that we have a unique opportunity to build various economic sectors. And one of those sectors has to do with weather and climate information, for which we have all of the weather data in the United States here in Asheville. So we started 15 years ago thinking about how we could leverage that asset into an economic development advantage. And now we work with companies all over the world. We have data that continues to come in ever-increasing sophistication. And we've been able to leverage this position of having this data and having the expertise at the National Center for Weather and Climate to a place where we're becoming literally a national center for the information and for business development.
The Center for Weather and Climate, we are the world's largest archive, over 18 petabytes of climate and weather information. And so folks come here to understand more about climate and how it affects agriculture, how it affects flooding, resilience, tourism. They do all their planning for what kind of crops to plant and when they want to have their events, where they want to build their buildings. We've had a number of major corporations actually come here, come to Asheville, do research with us, with our scientists. We have 9 Nobel laureates on staff here from the IPCC's Nobel Peace Prize. And they come here to figure out, where do I want to put a data center, or where do I want to build my next headquarters, either globally or nationally. And what's interesting is, most recently, we've had data centers being built by major players, and they decided to build them right here in the Asheville area. We thought it would be really great to have underneath the Center for Weather and Climate an academic arm that could sort of push the envelope, do some of that high-risk research in ways that a federal organization sometimes can't. So we created the Cooperative Institute for Climate here in North Carolina. We call it CICS, C-I-C-S, for Climate and Satellites. So Cooperative Institute for Climate and Satellites. And we put together a committee. The Arboretum, George Briggs in particular, the executive director of the Arboretum, was a part of that committee. So we have a North Carolina State academic arm here at the Center for Weather and Climate. And Dr. Otis Brown, who is world-renowned from the University of Miami, we actually hired him and convinced him to come to North Carolina from Miami. And he has built up a staff of about 40 world-class researchers who actually sit here, work shoulder to shoulder with our federal employees, our federal researchers, and our contractors.
The economic importance of the Cooperative Institute, you can look at it from several perspectives. The first is, okay, how much money's on the table? Okay, we're running at between $6.5 and $7 million a year of federal investment in the Cooperative Institute and staff right now. That's what you'd call direct, but I think in other ways it may be more important, actually. One way is that we quickly became involved through George and the Arboretum in the Asheville Hub, which is sort of a nexus for economic development in the community, and with various other development initiatives. And it was clear to me early on that Asheville needed to have a paradigm for small, lightweight, knowledge-based industry to come in to the city, into Western North Carolina, that as time went on, we were going to see the economy shift from sort of manufacturing plant-based activities to many smaller startup type activities that were knowledge-based.
My company, Climate Data Solutions, was created out of the recognition that from my experience working in the federal government as a scientist and a data manager, there was this acknowledgement that there's this vast amount of data, these resources that are very valuable, but that the majority of the community and the decision makers are not tapping into those resources. And there's a big disconnect between those two communities. So I'm hoping to come into that space, and that's what I'm doing right now, and basically help the decision makers not only try to understand and formulate the problems that they are experiencing with climate, but also identify what are those key resources in the federal government that they can utilize. The proximity to the National Centers for Weather and Climate allows me to more easily tap into the resources and the expertise that is available right here in Asheville, in the place where I'm located. So that actually allows me to access a lot of business opportunities that otherwise I wouldn't have, because the community and the business recognize that it is an advantage to be so close to this resource. Every company and every community out there, their main goal is to actually be resilient, right? We want to be able to withstand change without impacting their operations and the way that they conduct their business. So in that sense, climate is a key component in this whole process. Having climate information can allow communities to understand, and businesses to understand, their vulnerabilities and their exposure to these possible disruptions created by weather, extreme weather and climate, and better prepare for those situations. When we talk about risk, we should also talk about opportunity. There's always the other side of the coin. And every business and every community that is going to embrace the climate variability and prepare for that is going to actually create for themselves an advantage in that space.
As an organization, as part of a community, we've observed other science-based communities and how they have fared. We've looked at Huntsville, Alabama, and how they fared with space. We've looked at Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and how they have fared with energy. And now that we have this emerging climate issue, and because we have all of the data about that here in Asheville and in North Carolina, we see this unique opportunity as an institution to provide leadership in education, in science, and in research, and in business development, so that we can not only help the economy of our state and our nation through this asset, we can also help people take advantage of these assets for their own life and their own landscape and their own entrepreneurial opportunity.